think you're on mute, Amy.
Here I go again. I did that last time. Thank you, whoever told me that. It used to be just automatic. I guess I have to think about it now. Anyway, I was saying I'm still in my sweaty workout clothes. I made it to my workout class this morning, which I'm very proud of because I got home from the city at like 11 o'clock last night. And that's just working. Like I go in around 8:30 in the morning, get there at about 10:45. No, I get in at 10:30. I walk down from Grand Central. I start with patients at 11 and I see my last patient at 7-ish. I think my last one came in late last night. So I got out of there. Usually I try to catch the 8:36 home, but I caught the 9:06 home. So I was in this house at like 10:35. Anyway, I'm glad to only do that though once a month. That's what I was saying when I was muted. I'm very grateful that my life is different now. And I used to do that twice a week. And I used to do NIAC twice a week. Now I get to do stuff like this and be in my sweaty workout clothes. And I'm just answering emails on my front stoop because it's gorgeous out right now. Front stoop, whatever you call that, my front steps. As if I still live in the city, my front stoop. Okay, so we are here. We are in phase 2. It is the hardest phase. I went through all the questions with Carrie yesterday morning for her call. So I'm not going to answer any food related questions whatsoever in any of your questions for me today. Okay, I love you guys. I'm not going to do it because that's been my promise. I'm going to focus solely on the emotional. What I will say from the emotional perspective that of course, you can't get the tone in people's texts or emails or posts. My feeling was a lot of resistance about phase 2, a lot of resistance. Like, why do we have to remove fruit? Why do we have to remove rice? Why, I hate egg yolks, whatever, all the things. And I love you guys. I hope I don't sound judgy. Maybe I've been doing these reboots a long time. Sometimes I get a little like, just read the book. It's not the book. But that's just me. But I still love you guys and come back to that. And I'm going to address the fear about stopping supplements to Kaori is how I say your name. I'm assuming Kaori. I want to say it correctly. I also want to share. Oh, I'm not all in reboot. Oh my God. Someone posted in the new mama group a picture of the baby. Okay. Day 10. Okay. So that is today, where I technically think, today's the first day of phase 1. Exactly. Today is the first day of phase 1. Some of the questions yesterday threw me off, and I think some of you guys were thinking that yesterday was the day 1 of phase 1, but phase 2, but phase 1 is 9 days, and we started on a Monday, and so yesterday was day 9. I counted it out like 10 times yesterday with Carrie just to make sure I was right. And then today is the first day of phase 1. And the link over to the resources page for the liver support soup variation. So I'm just going to pull it up for you right here. See, this is what I'm doing. I really want you guys to have the book and to be able to log into the Egg Quality Diet resources page. You only have to do it once and then not log in, enter your email to get in. That is really for tracking purposes for me and my team. It really helps us understand how many people are actually using the book, going to the link, utilizing it. It's just so much for our algorithms and on the back end, which is why we really want you guys to go to the page. Just so you know, it's like purely a business thing. Verify it's me. Come on. And then also we've had people in the past who actually don't buy the book and kind of like lie and try to get into the resources page. And I honestly spent hours and hours and hours building out that resources page. So I want what I want. I want you to have the book because that's what we asked you to have. And I want you to be integrous about it. I worked my ass off to create that resources page for you guys. So you can have the book for $16 and get all the material on that page that I worked my ass off to create and my team worked their ass off to create. So it's just my 2 cents there. And I thank you for understanding that. I just want to see where the liver support soup hack sheet is. So this is the hack sheet I have. I'm going to share this here. Share. Copy link. Anyone with? It's right here. And then I also yesterday, just based on all the questions, I shared what is called our egg quality diet eating plan cheat sheet. Now, what I want to say first and foremost is I just shared that from the drive. I'm not 100% positive that there aren't edits that needed to be made or little hiccups in there. I want to really, 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 really make sure you hear me when I say this. The menus and meal plans as laid out in the book, and we say this every which way, are templates. You don't have to eat exactly. I am a creature of habit. You guys see, I am in my butternut squash soup. I'm having it today I didn't. I had egg yolks and broccoli this morning. But, and I don't usually cut out whites because I've done it before and I know I'm fine on them, but just because I was just kind of being in the mode with you guys today. But I am a creature of habit. Like I may not even make a single fat bomb this round. I just haven't made them yet and I might not. I always do my liver support soup. Anyway, just trying to share with you that like, take what you like and you can eat that every day if you want. It's 11 days, phase 2. And so I want to address the emotional resistance. Like one thing I want to say to you, and it is your mantra. It went out in your email, I think, today, day 10. Let me see. Yeah, it went out in the email today, day 10. I am healing and I believe in possibility. If you want to, how do I want to say this lovingly, kindly? For you to have the changes you want. You signed up for this program, you made a commitment to yourself. I don't want you to sabotage it. I want you to hold up that commitment. I watched a Mel Robbins piece a while ago, but it's really stuck with me. Of like the number one way to boost your confidence is to do what you say you're going to do. Hold yourself accountable. And what I am hoping from all of you is, yes, I clearly understand phase 2 is fucking hard. I clearly understand an elimination diet is not easy. I also clearly understand it makes a huge fucking difference in so many of my patients' lives for the long haul. I know that for a fact, which is why I continue to run this program, which is why I wrote the book, The Egg Quality Diet, which is why I talk about elimination diets all the time. I also love the idea that like you might not be the person that ever needs to cut out gluten, dairy, or soy. Did you ever think about that? Like there's a huge win on the other side of this. You can discover nightshades don't work for you, but dairy does. Could you imagine? Or you don't have to be gluten-free just because every other fertility book says you have to be, right? There's wins here too. But in order for you to really show up like you intended when you joined this program, I want you to do your best and I want you to believe in the possibility. There's a lot of resistance and I want you to honor that. Like I feel resistance because I don't want to fucking be here to begin with. I should have just had the baby. It would have been a hell of a lot easier. I didn't have to change my diet, sign up for this stupid program, read all these books, cook all these foods. I get all that. I totally get it all. But you're here and we have to accept that. It sucks. I'm not saying it's where you want it to be. And I'm not saying, I'm not happy that you're here. I love you. And I'm so grateful that I'm here to support you in this transformation, but you are here. And so we just have to breathe that in. I'm here, but I'm here and I believe in possibility. I believe in possibility. So I'm going to give this a shot. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to show up at my 80, 90, 100%. Things I want us to watch out for. I don't want you to lose too much weight. If you are feeling a lot of bloat or gas or uncomfortableness during phase 2, where you really shouldn't be, you should be feeling very like light and just like, I hope nourished and satiated, but just good in your body. If you're not feeling that, please go back to the pages in the book that talk about SIBO and histamine. Okay, I know someone brought it up in the questions yesterday for Carrie. So just so you guys know, right? Every single question that you guys went through yesterday, I went through with Carrie. Okay. Some of them, obviously, she doesn't need my support in because she's brilliant. And she's been on my team for a while, but just saying. So histamine and SIBO, it's on page 229 of the actual physical book. Kindle, it's going to be different. In the Kindles, you can just search the word SIBO, SIBO, and you will find the page, or search the word histamine and you will find the page. Okay. And this is where, guys, again, for those of you that still haven't bought the book, if you're one of them, this is where it's really important to have the book. It's an investment in yourself. It's a way to support the author. Thank you very much, who works her tail off to give you guys as much as I possibly can for free, or for at a very low cost. And so if you don't feel your best, and I listen, phase 2 is challenging. You might be hungry. If you get hungry, and I cover all this in the book, and I know some of the questions addressed it yesterday. If you get hungry, have an additional phase 2 smoothie, have some more sweet potato. I make a big thing. I baked like 5 sweet potatoes on Sunday, and then I mash them all with a little bit of ghee, coconut milk, salt. Delicious. And I just have this container in the fridge. So if I'm feeling hungry, I just have a little bit. I just have a little bit. Have a little avocado. Have an extra smoothie. I add some collagen to my tea. I have more protein. I'll have more, like I had salmon yesterday, 2 things of salmon yesterday. Delicious. I kind of was already in phase 2 yesterday, just kind of the way I did have chicken. So that was technically still phase 1. And for questions as to why we're cutting things out, so I haven't even looked at any of the comments today, but please read the book. I clearly state, like, this is why we're cutting nuts out. This is why we're cutting seeds out. This is why we're cutting nightshades out. So, and as far as the very limited options in phase 2, that's super intentional, because I want us to be as clean as possible. I said this last week, clean slate, so that we can go into phase 3 and start adding things back in and see the difference. If we don't take lots of things out, we'll never be able to see the difference. So on that note, do not forget, and I know it's already Wednesday, I hope you've already done your kinks questionnaire for the week, and as the homework recommended, that you kind of compared what has already changed in a week, and still continuing that tuning in and that reconnecting of, like, how am I showing up for me? How am I making these commitments to myself? How am I open to possibility? How do I feel now? How do I want to feel? How big is that gap? What am I willing to do to make that gap smaller? Right. So just like I don't know, as often as you can, go through it. And so, and I hope you guys are enjoying me sharing my food every day. I will, of course, do it today. Okay, so, and as far as like replacing things, you don't replace. You just don't eat what you don't like. You don't eat what you're allergic to. Clear? Don't eat what you don't like. Don't eat what you're allergic to. Eat more of the other things. That's the answer for all of those questions. I know everybody wants, like, what can I do instead of egg yolks? Nothing. You just don't do the egg yolks. Do more avocado. You know, get more protein in someplace else. For Epic bars, again, I just said I wasn't going to answer food questions. You have to read all the ingredients. I think none of them are allowed in phase 2, because there's fruit, or there's or there's seasonings. So I don't think any. I'm off meat sticks officially today, which is like one of my favorite snacks on the planet. And I'll stay off them for 11 days, which is hard, and then I'll reintroduce them because I know I don't have a reaction. And you guys can play around with that too. But, and again, I'm not going to answer the question about Brussels sprouts. What's allowed is clearly laid out, and what's not allowed is not allowed. You do you, though. If you have a day where you eat Brussels sprouts in phase 2, you didn't just fail at the program. But I would really like you to pay attention, because they're cruciferous and they can be hard to digest. And if you get gassy or bloated from those, that's a clue for us. Okay. So I've tried to limit the vegetables and the foods in phase 2 to basically, like, I researched this. I've done years and years, like literally decades of research on this. The foods that are allowed in phase 2 are, hands down, the least reactive foods that exist on the planet. And some of you in here are going to be like, but I react to eggs. Yeah, you do. And I'm sorry, but they're still the least reactive foods. Egg yolks, egg whites are what typically people react to, not the yolks. You can research that too. And I think I talk about that in the book as well. And now my computer. Come on, baby. Come on. Okay. Okay, there we go. Let's get into our questions. I'm just gonna, and again, any food related questions, unless there's an emotional switch to it, I am not gonna answer. And I mean that lovingly. You can bring that to Carrie's food questions. I know someone had said that she didn't answer their questions from week 1, but we did look deeper into it, and it was actually posted after the week 1 question, after the week 1 live, which is why then it wasn't seen or noticed. And so it was addressed in week 2, and we will continue to do it that way. Because my coaches are, everybody has their lives going on. So, okay. Okay. Oh, come on. I have my big monitor connected to my laptop, and sometimes it does this thing where it just doesn't want to stay connected. Okay, so again, remember, my coaching calls are meant to be emotionally based. So questions that are not, you can ask the question, but just tie it into emotions. I keep having this thought. How do I work on that thought? I'm really anxious about my transfer. What can I do to calm myself? And so, oh my God, what can I do to calm myself right now? And this fucking thing is annoying the shit out of me. Come on. It's like, sorry. I'll just move my laptop over if this doesn't work, but it just drives me crazy because why should it not work? It works. Like the cord's not broken. No one's chewing on the cord. My dog did eat another pair of my clogs yesterday, which I am upset about. And never mind. Okay, so going in on November 7th for a frozen embryo transfer. Any tips on do's and don'ts? So I do have, this is not an emotional question, first of all. I love you, Christina. Basically, if you could be pregnant, or I shouldn't say if you could be, you're fine for phase 2 in the 2-week wait. If you get a positive, I will want you to add in more carbohydrates. Typically what I add in is rice. But just really focus on, because not all the days have as high protein as I like to recommend. So for those of you in a 2-week wait or about to do a transfer, and we're in phase 2, just really make sure you're getting that 80 to 100 grams of protein, okay? Do's and don'ts. I have a post-transfer 2-week wait. I think it's called AIMEE'S.com/ what is it called? That's the meditation. Let me just see if I can find it. No, I know I'm wasting time here. I have a 2-week wait. Oh, you really meant, oh, Christina, you're so sweet. Okay. I meant live meditations, coping, etc. I love you, Christina. And for the iPhone, it's a shame you don't answer questions about fertility treatment. That's why I have to sign up. I can answer. I've been super clear, guys. Ever since I promoted this program, this is not one-on-one coaching. If you want specifics for your case, you need to sign up for one-on-one coaching. There's no way. We have 113 women in this program. There's no way I could answer individual questions for each case. It's a lot for you to expect out of me. That's what I'll say back to you. if you have specific questions, I am having a really hard time coping in the 2-week wait. My doctor won't listen to me. I need more support here or there or that. I can totally support you on that. It's kind of how you ask the question. If you're going to list out your entire case and expect me to give advice, I can't do that. It's just not fair to everyone else, because we have to put rules in place for a program like this. I take on several hundred students in programs like this. There's no way I can individualize and answer every single question. So there. Doesn't mean I don't love you, and doesn't mean I'm not cheering for you. And so much of what you need is being covered here. Please just listen and take it all in. That's what I would say. Okay. And I'm just trying to pull up the 2-week wait. But either way, what I'll go to you, Christina, is like, so do's and don'ts too. I mean, I think you have to get to that space of like, my body is ready, my uterus is ready, I've done everything I can do. I'm ready to receive this child. You know, I had 2 girls yesterday that are heading into transfer this week. And a lot of what we talked about in the clinic was all the work they've done in the lead up here, how ready their vessel is, how ready their home is, how ready their relationship is. And like I said to my one client yesterday, I was like, just be really playful in the 2-week wait. Like, look at how fun it is down here. Like, look at how much love we have here. Like, come and join us. It's so much fun here, you know, and just look at all the ways mommy loves and nourishes herself. Look at all the ways mommy loves and supports herself. Like, you know, I'm so ready for you. I'm so ready for you. And for you, when you start to get into the spins of like, will it work? Is it not going to work? What do I do next? Like, I think it's healthy to go down both paths. There's a possibility it could work. I'm here because I believe in the possibility of it working. There's a possibility it won't work. Okay, what will I do differently? How do I go back to the drawing board after that, right? Almost like whiteboard. I'm a big whiteboard person. Whiteboard it out, or you know, map it out for yourself, both sides. I think it's healthy to look at your fears. I think it's healthy to acknowledge your fears. I think it's also healthy to let yourself daydream about the possibility of it working. Imagine that. Imagine that. Right. But, you know, as much as you can, playful. Yeah, the meditations that are in this program, I think, could be really useful to listen to. I have a 2-week wait meditation that's on my Instagram link in bio, the link tree. That's a great. Oh, and if you go to aimeerock.com/TWW, that is a 2-week wait meditation. So this is where I'm getting confused, because the 2-week wait yada yada is also post transfer IVF. Let me just see. No, that's not it. So many pages, so many opt-ins. So it's called the 2-week wait checklist opt-in view. I'm going to post this here too. Okay. And so that way you guys can all have this. Okay. The video from week 1, I'm not going to answer. I've been through 3 miscarriages since 2021. The reason for the first 2 is endometritis. That's fucking, see, this is why I'm a psychopath about endometritis, which was treated afterwards. We don't know the reason for the 3rd one. I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism in 2021, but during the 3rd pregnancy, I became hyper. So then you might have Hashimoto's. Oh, there you go. Shortly after I had Hashimoto's. When you see it go hypo to hyper, 9 times out of 10 Hashimoto's. I mean, I might be, maybe would even say 9.9 times out of 10. I think maybe 1 time I've seen it where it's not. I recently did a stool analysis with integrated gut dysbiosis, poor immune system. I was treated for gut dysbiosis. As a result, my antibodies always drop. This diet will drop your antibodies too. Always happens. But listen, women with higher antibodies can still get and stay pregnant. Okay. Okay. So this isn't clearly emotional. What I'm going to answer is more emotional. That's how I'm going to do it. And so for the one who said it's a shame I don't answer about the cases, this is what I'll do. Like, you're welcome to, of course, post, and of course, post in the feed and get support from everybody else too. For me here, what I would say is, like, you're in the right place, Isabella. This reboot and leading into the 100 days of the egg quality diet is going to significantly help the autoimmunity, which will help the recurrent pregnancy situation. I would also strongly recommend miscarriage panel. Even though endometritis was in the game, I would just still do a complete clotting factor. Just go to amyrup.com/miscarriage. The panel is there. Um, and and then don't underestimate the power of emotional inflammation as it pertains to activating and triggering the immune system, which is why I really like to spend my time on the emotional piece, because I think it's the hardest piece. And so, I would say continue to really grieve and process those losses, continue to work through if there is, I feel anger for you about the lack of diagnosis for the endometritis. And so if there is anger for you, I don't want to put my anger on you. I want you to work through that. I want you to process that. I want you to, what am I ready to let go of? Like, and then I always think for any woman that is going through this journey, it's so hard. Like when you're about to try to conceive again or do another transfer after a previous failed one or previous losses or just trying something different, make a list. Again, I work well with lists. What are all the things I'm doing differently? How are all the ways I'm supporting my body? What are all the possibilities I believe in, right? And almost like let yourself go down all of them. But I would say you're on the right path and you're doing the work, and continue to do it and show up for yourself. I started your protocol about 4 weeks ago, and I'm about a week 2 for the last 2 weeks, about 1 month total. I haven't introduced anything. Got busy, routine seemed to work well, and I feel light years better. Look at you. Thank you. Should I just proceed with week 3 at the same point or start reintroducing? So you've been basically in phase 1 then for about a month. Is that what you're saying? And this isn't really an emotional question, but yeah, then I would, if you haven't done phase 2, go into phase 2 and then move on like that. I've gone through years of fertility treatments, 3 miscarriages. I'm down to my last embryo. One thing I've noticed the years of treatment and miscarriages that my cycles have become a lot shorter. Generally, my cycle is 24 to 24 days. I'm struggling with all the shorter cycles. Outside of the diet, is there anything I can do to help my cycle lengths? You have to work on the nervous system. So again, that's why I really dedicate my coaching sessions to the emotional piece. So are you meditating? Are you getting morning sunlight? Are you sleeping 7 to 8 hours? Are you getting out in nature? Are you journaling? Are you listening to your body? Are you resting when you need to? Are you pushing yourself too much? Are you over exercising? Are you under exercising? Are you eating with regular cadence? Are you skipping meals, right? All of that really impacts. And also, like, I don't really know which side of your cycle is shorter. Ovulation date or 8, 9, sorry, I got that. So the follicular phase is shorter. So that's really where the rest and the nervous system piece comes in. So much of the work, watch the video 1, video 2, really focus on the feelings exercises here. Really, 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 how am I nourishing myself? How do I believe in possibility? How, like, I think a good question for you, Carly, every day, how am I slowing down? How am I nourishing me? What can I do today to take it easy on myself? What can I do today to slow down? What can I say no to today? Make a promise that you're only going to say yes to what really lights you up. And if it doesn't entirely light you up, find a way that it makes it feel more exciting for you versus like the efforting and the forcing. All of that is very draining to the nervous system. And also just like checking in. Do I feel like I'm in fight or flight all day, every day? How can I calm that? What makes me feel safe? What makes me feel whole? What makes me laugh? What makes me feel happy? I mean, one of my good friends, and I say this all the time, so forgive me if you heard it. She recommends, she's a trauma therapist, PhD psychotherapist, brilliant, brilliant woman. Big things ahead for her. She always says 20 minutes of every day. We should give ourselves 20 minutes of worry time. Set the timer, worry it out, journal it. Worry, what are all the possible problems, things that are never going to work or things that I'm worried about, like just jump it. And then 20 minutes of daydream. And I think that's the 20 minutes of like spending time in the possibility. So I already answered the question about phase 2 and the 2-week wait. And if you missed it, if you came on late, just go back and watch at the beginning because I addressed it. Okay, I feel like all these questions are not emotional, and I love you guys, but okay, there's a good one. I found out that my last FET failed when I started my period 10 days ago. I'm very sorry, Mariana. I bled for 3 days, but I'm still having to wear a liner because of spotting. Is this normal? Yes. How long will it take? We don't know. Everybody's different, but probably I'd say a few weeks, 2 weeks to a month, and you should be back at it. And I think, again, like coming back to it, you're in the right place. This is a good time to just really focus on the feelings work, doing the processing, really, tuning in and understanding how you feel, why you feel, what's your goals here from an emotional perspective. I know everybody's larger goal, obviously. Um, but what do you hope to get out of this? And what do you hope to see from yourself, of how you're showing up for yourself, or how you're resistant to change, or how you still are angry about X, Y, and Z, or you're kind of just sabotage yourself, or you are like too perfectionist, right? So looking at all these pieces, and I think even going all the way back of like, I think this is day one or something. Do I believe in the possibility? And I know like this week is all about, like, phase 2 is all about what I call like purification. It's just like recognizing, and you're going to see in your homework tomorrow, you're going to get my art of shifting your beliefs worksheet. Acknowledge, reform, transform. That's what ART stands for. And I want you to have come into this program with doubts, with frustration, with anger, with not feeling heard or seen, and come out of it really, really differently. And one of the biggest differences I want you to be able to see is that you can acknowledge, I feel angry because I feel unseen, because I feel mad that Amy's not going to answer my questions about my case, um, because I feel like I can't get answers, right? I just feel so frustrated. I'm in this loop. I'm in this circle. I feel like I can't get out of it. How do I get out of it? How do I get out of it? Acknowledging that, and then acknowledging what that thought process does to your lifestyle choices, how you act throughout your day. And then using the worksheet, because I created that, again, 20 years of clinical experience. I feel like I've heard all, most of the statements that have been said. How do we rework that? How can I say it better? I'm learning how to empower myself and get my own answers. I'm reading more. I'm educating myself more. I'm asking more questions. I'm showing up for myself. Uh, I'm connecting the dots. I'm looking back through the cases, through my history. I'm learning. I'm understanding. I'm asking for the test. I'm not taking no for an answer, right? You know how often doctors say no to the endometritis test. I just sent an email this morning to a client that is getting ready for a transfer. And I said, don't take no for an answer. Don't take no for an answer. But, I like this one too, of like, anyway, I'm getting sidelined, but allowing yourself to feel everything and process and be here and just trust in your body. Like, you were just taking hormones. You're not a robot. You just had a major letdown physically, right? Because you're off the hormones, but emotionally as well. And so just like your body's gonna do what it's gonna do. And this is not all you. Some of this is hormones, so it's synthetic. So just like release that too, that this is something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you guys. There's just tweaks that you're discovering can better support your body. But there's nothing wrong with you. Sorry to hear about your miscarriage. Do you mind sharing how you managed to stay positive while still working with children, trying to conceive? Are you okay? Oh, you're so sweet, Cecilia. Thank you. Yeah, I'm okay. I really am. It's been a couple years now. And so, but it never once impacted me like that. I think because I've been doing the work for so long, I see it work out for women as it's meant to, always. And I've just done so much spiritual work over the years that, like, not to say that the miscarriage wasn't devastating, but I also, like, and not to undermine how I feel, but like um I wasn't doing 7 rounds of IVF and then I miscarried, right? I was just like, I have been in a different situation and than a lot of you. So it is heartbreaking no matter how you slice it. but it also cracked me open in beautiful ways. And no, I think it actually made me better at my job. It made me more understanding in a way, just like giving birth did. Just like having a child at 40, gave me such a clear understanding of like the recommendations I used to make for postpartum were like a joke. And now I'm like, oh yeah, you want my new mama guide? Because like, again, like I spent hours and hours and hours and hours and hours creating that new mama guide after I gave birth, where I was like, oh my God, I have to change the whole template. The miscarriage did the same thing for me. And never once, I don't get triggered by any of my girls. I've been doing this so long that I truly, truly believe and truly see it works out for women most of the time. You get to the other side of this. You guys will get to the other side of this. And so, yeah, but I'm okay. Thank you for asking. And so staying positive, I stay positive because I see the results and I see it working. Sometimes it takes fucking way too long and it pisses me off. I'm not going to lie about that. I get frustrated as hell. Sometimes we don't get to baby exactly how we thought we were gonna. That's hard to process. But yeah, I always say I have the luxury of being positive because I've been doing this for 2 decades. And, at this stage, I can count on 2 hands, maybe the women it didn't work out for. And I shouldn't even say work out for the women that maybe didn't achieve it exactly how they thought they were going to. Everyone got to the life of their dreams. Some through adoption, some through donor, some through surrogacy, some through deciding they're not going to pursue a child. I can think of like one actually who decided to not pursue a child. She started a business, she's blown it up. The business became her baby. But I have the luxury of being very confident for all of you and positive. Okay. Okay, I'm not going to answer this, Stephanie. So this is this question. Okay, so I want to answer it because you seem frustrated. I have knots in my thyroid, but again, this is not emotional based. I don't know what Tamazole is. Low TSH naturally at 0.2, normal T3 and T4. Yeah, I don't know that you need to necessarily support your thyroid for transfer. Lower is usually better, and I think Thiamazole must be some kind of synthroid. It'd be fine. I think you just have to monitor your thyroid and stay really on top of it. And that's something I recommend for everybody every time, whether they're trying naturally at home or they're, doing IVF, IUIs. And as far as the stim, it's really hard for me to answer that without knowing your entire history and what's worked for you in the past and what hasn't. I think that's right on the cusp of being too high, though. So it might work for you, especially if you have a good antral follicle count. What's the ideal value for DHEA? I don't know what that question means when supplement 180. I'm not sure what that means. You have to look at your lab ranges. Every country has different ranges and different units. So I like to see it smack dab in the middle of the range, the DHEA-S. And if it's lower than that, I supplement. And then I also look to testosterone always. Foot bath. Can you explain the specifics, please? What do you use and how much? Just magnesium salts in a foot bath, maybe 1 cup. And it's just to help really give you the magnesium, which is an amazing mineral to support your body and to help its detox pathways. Okay. I feel like none of these questions are emotionally based whatsoever, guys. Massages, if they feel good, you can do them. If you're in your 2-week wait, you should be very clear that, or maybe avoid the massage. Okay, prednisone for persistent cough, sinus infection, lead follicle. Yeah, the prednisone or the cold could have caused it too. And this is where, like, again, I'm going to spin this question to more of an emotional. You are not a robot. I want you to be easy on yourself. It just wasn't that cycle. It doesn't mean that was your last egg ever, right? So like really come back to like, what are your beliefs here? Why are you triggered by this. I mean, obviously you're disappointed. You were being monitored. You were hoping to try naturally. Like, I understand that. I'm not trying to be facetious of like, why were you disappointed? But um, does that mean that because that happened, you're closing the door and never trying again? No, right? You're gonna try again the next time you get the opportunity. So let yourself believe in these possibilities. Let yourself believe in these possibilities, right? And so that's really where I would come from of like, I'm not a robot. I did have a sinus infection. I did take medicine I don't normally take. Prednisone is only really used in transfer to help hold a pregnancy if there's autoimmune related issues or reproductive recurrent pregnancy loss. And so, but I want you to just come back to this place of like, I am safe. I'm doing everything I can do to support my body. I'm not a robot. I had a sinus infection. I was on a medication I'm not normally on. I had an off cycle. Doesn't mean it's the last egg you're going to ever ovulate. So I really want you, when the worksheet is going to come in your email tomorrow, really start working those beliefs. Like, what do I believe about my fertility? Do I believe that like this is it? So for castor oil packs, it's all covered if you just go to aimeerop.com/castor oil. I have an entire blog and video post on it, and I cover all the things of like when to do it, how to do it, what time in the cycle, IVF, not IVF. I'm in a state of anovulation since quitting methotrexate for over 6 years to treat. Yeah. So again, I'm going to come back to like Kia, your body's changing and shifting. Doesn't mean you're broken. You're not a robot. And methotrexate is a serious medication and it takes a while to recover from. So I do think, yeah, you're in the right place, and I would continue with the diet and with doing all the feelings work and doing like the acupuncture and all of that to really best support your body. It can recover, it can heal. 6 years of methotrexate is significant impact on the body, and so it is recoverable though. FSH being high, again, that FSH always comes from the brain. It is always linked to stress on the body or stress in your life. And so I also think going off methotrexate, your adrenals probably crash because it does a lot on the adrenals. And so really doing all the nourishing lifestyle stuff will really help kind of bring you back to life, if you will. But I wouldn't, I would give it time, at least 3 months since February 2023. Okay, well, February, March. I'm so confused. What? Okay, so it's actually been more than that. Yeah, so it's like if you haven't dug deep into the lifestyle and the meditation and the mindfulness piece and like that nervous system piece, that's really where I want you to focus your attention. And so doing all the feelings exercises, listening to the videos, doing the meditations, really tuning into yourself and properly supporting your body, when it comes to diet, like nourishment, but also when it comes to soulfulness and joy and receiving support and your day to day of like, how am I taking time to nourish me? How am I taking time to nourish my soul and support myself? And so, sure, I've definitely seen anovulation from these meds, 100%, and I do think it's recoverable. And I want us to go back to that. That's the trending theme. I'm not a robot. My body's allowed to do different things at different times because it's been through stuff. And my body's also allowed and capable of recovering and healing. Okay. So I can't answer this question, Cecilia. Like this cannot be individualized support like this. It's a lot. I'm going to try to pull out more of an emotional based from it. So, I mean, first, what you're doing right now following this program is going to help balance your hormones. To me, one of the best ways to do it is ideally you're going to finish this 30 days and you're going to continue on with the egg quality diet. You're going to look at all the resources on the resources page for how to best support your soul do the meditations, do, the feelings exercises. So, and the reason, again, I'm going to say it one more time, the reason I focus on the emotional piece is because no one wants to focus on it. You can tell right here from the questions. We've been super clear in all of the instructions of like, these are supposed to be emotionally based questions. No one's in trouble. I love you guys. Like, I don't want you to feel, called out on any level, but like, you're here, and I'll do my best. I always do my best for you guys. That is my integrity for you. But no one wants to address the emotional piece because it's fucking hard to look at. It's painful. It's so much easier to look at the tangible stuff. I did this many IVS. My thyroid is this. My AMH is this. I need to get this much protein. Really easy to look at that stuff and check the boxes. But to do the feelings work is really, really hard. And I'm good at that. So I want to support you on that. Okay, my FSH is high. My period is this month is 3 weeks late. It's been regular. The nurse experienced perimenopause. So here's another thing. I'm not a robot. My body is changing. My body is shifting. Perimenopause can last 10 years, guys. And in those 10 years, you can have some irregular cycles and you can have some regular cycles, and you're still going to be ovulating. Women, even in menopause, still have 1,000 eggs left. But so what I want to take from this, Cecilia, is because they told you you're in perimenopause, does that mean that well, I don't know, you're going to believe them? Are you going to, I don't know to say believe them, but like, obviously, like, I know it's a, medical fact, but like, how much power are you going to give that? Does it mean that you're going to stop trying? Do you think there's still some good eggs left in you? So I really want you to sit and like question those beliefs that are coming up for you. Chinese medicine is a beautiful way to balance hormones, acupuncture, herbs, dietary. I mean, so much of what we do here at Team Amy, absolutely. Many of you would probably benefit from a one-on-one session. You'd get an individualized protocol. You'd probably love it. But again, like, I think even at 45, if we see cycles being irregular, I do think it's malleable, correctable. So I also think that every woman, everywhere in the world, no matter what her age, has months where she has off cycles. And then she, balances herself back out, because we're not robots, and life can impact us. Stress can impact us. Travel can impact us. Not eating enough, eating too much, not exercising, over exercising, too much screen time, intense work schedules, like that will impact our hormones. We are so sensitive in that way. And so, it's really, and I said it in my post today on Instagram, it's like, it's about the consistency and frequency. And so what I'm trying to teach you guys here in this program is, sure, the right way to support your body and learn what your body needs from a nutrition perspective, but then also the right way to, not the right way, a way that I find good and useful for many of my clients to tune into their body and into their feelings and to discover the best ways they can support themselves. And so searching the internet on how to balance my hormones, this program, these 30 days, if you follow it as laid out in the emails you're getting every single day, and with the food instructions and the feelings instructions, you're going to see balance in your hormones. You are. Trust me. So I think that's another piece here too, is the trust factor. Do you trust your bodies? Do you trust yourselves? Do you trust your care team? How much trust do you want to put in those things? I really want you to put trust in yourself and in your body, and also in your guidance and support that surrounds you, that you're being guided to the next right thing for you that's going to help you. I've never seen cordyceps used for estrogen or progesterone, my love. I use cordyceps a lot in Chinese medicine, especially with COVID, for immune system stuff. I'm not going to answer the Himalayan sea salt thing. I feel bad not reading it. Let me just read it. I don't know much difference between the Himalayan and the Celtic, to be honest. These both have high mineral content. That's why they're popular salts. So you can definitely do it. First thing in the morning is supposed to help with the adrenal glands. You can also help with blood pressure issues. am I in the right? Like all of a sudden now I'm like, yeah, this is for me. Uh, um, oh, I see. Reply there, then go through. That's why it wasn't letting me look at something. Um, Okay. So the MRT test, I don't know what that is. I think it's some kind of allergy test. I don't believe in those. And this isn't just like I don't believe in them. I did a lot of research when I was writing Body Belief, and they're just not that reliable. They're like a snapshot in time. The most reliable way to understand what your body reacts to and doesn't react to is an elimination diet, which is what I'm walking you guys through. And for ghee, I do strongly recommend that it's certified lactose and casein free. That way, if you have a dairy issue, you should be fine on the ghee. Um, uh, I'm confused by this question. I commented about my holistic chiropractor recommending I cut out beef and eggs. They do muscle testing determined to eliminate those for a little while. They've been determined I have a parasite. I mean, you need to do an actual stool analysis to see if you have a parasite. I wouldn't do, the what's it called, the testing, uh, kinesiology to determine it. I would do a stool analysis, because that's a very big comment to make. We do stool analysis all the time on all of our coaching clients and the FFP students, and I've not seen one parasite this entire year. It's not very common. Um, so as far as supplements, it's like I would lean on the chiropractor for that. For right now in phase 2, it's ideal that you take a break from your supplements just so your body has time to really just absorb its nutrition, heal, not do a lot of work. That's kind of the goal with phase 2, is like really for you to sit with you. It's the purification process on all the levels. And so for you to acknowledge, reform, transform, what are these limiting beliefs? How are they getting in my way? How are they supporting me? What do I want to shift? What feels really good? And then also from a food perspective of like, we're really going at like a very clean, simple template. If some of you I saw the one question about that wasn't listed here about taking out the supplements. If some of you are getting anxious about stopping your supplements, I mean, no way, shape, or form should stopping a supplement for 11 days have any impact on you negatively. But if it really is triggering to you, then and keep it really simple. You could take your prenatal, you could take your fish oil and your probiotic. Um, and if you want to keep the liver in, you could eat liver. I think that's all fine. But the whole point of this is, how many supplement lists I see on a weekly basis, probably 10 to 15 with all my coaches and myself. I would say at least 70% of the supplements my patients are taking have fillers in them that are causing reactions, have soybean oil, things like that. So I'm really particular about supplements. And that's also why I pull them, because most people are on too many and most people are on supplements that their body is reacting to. Um, uh, Occasionally, I muster up the willpower to eat fish, although it's not as enjoyable. Since starting this program, I tried to incorporate bone broth, but felt very nauseous and gassy. I'm trying to work my way up to eating meat. You don't have to eat meat on this program, though. And so that's like, I think that should be really clear. You don't have to eat meat on this program. You could just do fish, you could do eggs, you could do broth. There's also great fish broths out there. Vital Choice makes a great fish broth. I have the vegetarian options listed out on the Egg Quality Diet Resources page. So you don't have to do it. I think, too, I'm going to twist this a little emotionally. And like, I don't want you to think that you're not going to achieve success with not adding in meat, right? Um, your body's used to being strictly vegan, right? And so meat might not be the best thing for you, might not have the best reaction to it. I've had plenty of vegetarians. I just had a 46-year-old vegetarian. I mean, she's now 19 weeks pregnant with a healthy baby girl, got pregnant naturally. We didn't add in meat. She does fish, she does eggs. She did some broth and bone broth. Protein powder was easier for her. She did fish broth. We just increased her protein and it was helpful for her. So I want you to be easy on yourself. And also, like, If you really want to do it, by all means, I support you, but you don't have to. So really tune into what that feels like when I give you permission that you don't have to eat meat. You could do fish broth too, right? If that feels like relief, then that's your answer. Um, uh, okay. I was able to achieve pregnancy when I wasn't even trying, but unfortunately I miscarried. I'm sorry, Jan. Miscarriages suck. When I try to compare the things that I was doing differently then that allowed me to achieve pregnancy, I realized that I was not working since I was during the height of the pandemic. I was eating well, all home cooked meals, and I was able to keep a routine sleep wake schedule. I tell you, the consistency of a routine like that makes a huge difference. And I get it. Now you're back to work. How do I do it? I travel for a living. Some days I work early mornings, some nights 10 to 14-hour days. The only thing I'm able to do consistently is bring my home cooked meals with me to work. When I look back at getting pregnant unexpectedly, I'm surprised it happened without taking any supplements, without focusing on any particular diet, without even trying. Since then, I've read your book, tried every supplement, had much hopefulness and positive self-talk, and have continued to eat healthy, but it's still resulted in many, many months of disappointing. I'm sorry. How much of a regimen? Oh, okay. Is there something I can do better to get? So first, I want you to be easy on yourself. And second, I mean, most of my clients have big jobs, busy jobs, full lives. I think what we really try to focus on is creating boundaries, like kind of what I was saying earlier on to one of the other questions of like, can I say no more? Can I finish work? Like, I understand you have 10 to 14-hour days, but like when the expectation is done, and those aren't probably every day, can I close my laptop and leave it up here and make a promise to myself I'm not going to check work emails till the next morning and start to create that boundary. I had to create that boundary with a lot of my coaching clients. Like, I don't answer emails on the weekends. If it's urgent, you have to put it in the subject line and then I will get right back to you. Otherwise, I will get back to you on Monday morning. And that's uncomfortable for me too, as you guys can tell here, of like, yeah, these were supposed to be emotionally based questions. They're not. I still feel uncomfortable not supporting you because it's just the kind of person I am. I'm a lover and I want to just give everybody love and support everybody. And so I think though, setting up the boundaries, and then in that too of the boundary of like, okay, maybe I can't get to bed by 11 o'clock every single night, but can I make a commitment to myself that I'm going to sleep 7 to 8 hours? Can I also make a commitment during the workday, like wear your blue light glasses if you're in front of screens, but also can I take a break 5 to 10 minutes and go to another part of the office or take a walk outside or just close my screen on my laptop or turn off my screen, do some breathing, check in with myself, do some of the emotional work, right? So you should be able to get pregnant with a full-time busy job and a busy life. That should be able to happen. And the fact that it happened for you once, it can happen again. The other thing I would say is if after that miscarriage and you haven't conceived again, I make sure you get an endometrial biopsy and check for endometritis, because can be a huge, it's upwards of 50% of women who get checked for endometritis actually have it. Not endometriosis, endometritis, which is an infection of the uterine lining, very common to have after a DNC and or a vaginal or C-section birth, or miscarriage without a DNC. So structurally, I would make sure that I would also look for scar tissue, maybe do a hysteroscopy personally. But otherwise, it's like, okay, so I can't do that. And I would have like a happy light on your desk. And so if you don't know what those are, you can Google them. They help you kind of get that morning sunlight if you can't get out into the sunshine first thing in the morning. Blue light blockers, but the structure around the boundary. And if there's someone you feel safe talking to at work about this, of like, I'm trying to work on my health. You don't have to say I'm trying to get pregnant. I'm trying to work on my health and I just need to have firmer boundaries. So if it's okay with you, I'm working my 9 to 5. I'm going to give you my, or whatever it is, my hours, but I turn off at a certain point. And it's the best thing you can do for yourself. And then when in that turning off of like, what are the things that feel good for my soul? Is it journaling? Is it going for a walk? Is it meditating? Is it exercising? Right? Like what are the things? And so maybe even it's a list of like, these are the things I'm going to try to fit in for me every week, right? One thing each week. One thing each day. And be easy on yourself. What's a good approach to believe you are sexy and desirable? I love you, Shawnee. I never really thought I was sexy or very attractive before getting married. That went away somewhat after my marriage, and my husband doesn't agree with how I perceive myself. Good. But since we've been trying for a baby for almost 8 years, I felt this way again. I also just feel broken and not whole. I know. What are some ways to make myself feel better about how I look and how I perceive myself? It's hard. It's hard because it's like so much of this is like, why you guys really want to focus on the tangible stuff too is, again, like I said, looking at the feeling piece is hard. And so thank you, Shani, for being so vulnerable and sharing this statement that I think probably a lot in here can relate to. It's hard. So I think you start small. And like I said before, what Mel Robbins said, the number one way to boost confidence is to do something that you say you're going to do. Hold yourself accountable, be integrous. I know Shawnee personally, she is a very accountable and integrous person. So I think maybe making a list of like, what are the things I'm proud of that I've accomplished, or of who I am as a friend, how about as a wife, as a daughter. I know your parents aren't here now, but like that kind of thing of like, what are the things that I do on the regular? Like I was doing this morning, actually, like I had some time to do some gratitude work, and I was kind of running through of like, I'm kind, I'm loving, I'm a good listener. I really try to be with who I'm hanging with, or that kind of thing. And then, I mean, I think to take it one step further of like, could we look in the mirror, from this attractiveness perspective and like, I don't know, focus on one feature. I think you have beautiful eyes, and so, or, I always joke like eyebrows. I love my eyebrows, which I don't love my eyebrows because I have to fill them in right here and here because I don't have a lot of hair there, but I'm getting better, and so I don't know. I worked out this morning, right? I feel very proud of that. Like I made a commitment, I signed up for this class, I showed up, I did it, right? That boosts my confidence. And I feel sexy and stronger for it. So things like that, even the food choices, right? I feel really committed to you guys. I said I was going to show up and do this program with you. This morning I could have deviated, like my son left a piece of his gluten-free toast this morning after breakfast. Looked really yummy. It had, butter on it and and I was like, no, I'm not gonna eat that because we're not doing great right now. And I don't really feel well when I eat that toast anyway. Right. And I'm proud of that decision. So then I went over to the stove and I made myself the eggs and with the broccoli and, felt really good about that. And, all my water with my lemon. So maybe Lashani, it's like, what are my commitments to myself? And maybe at the end of the day, a checkbox, and just start boosting your confidence that way. And even though I'm not yet a mother, even though I haven't yet brought a child through in this marriage, and I think I know you, I don't want to speak for you, but feeling like you're disappointing or letting others down because that hasn't been achieved yet. What are the ways in which I am showing up beautifully in this relationship? What are the ways I have grown? What are the ways I am a good friend, a good, that all those pieces. That's how I would look at it. And so, yeah, guys, I know we say this call's only an hour, but I never can keep it at an hour. But there are a lot more questions all of a sudden. Okay. I'll stay another like 20 minutes. What do you think of intermittent fasting? I do not love it for fertility. What would you recommend to get checked to better understand what might be causing it? Could intermittent fasting help me in training my body not to have these ups and downs? Thanks a lot. Yeah, I cover that. Like, I don't think we should really cover it here. I don't think intermittent fasting is good for fertility at all. I do not think long gaps without eating is good for fertility. I do think, I mean, I'm fine with like the 8 to 8, maybe a 12-hour, but no more than that. And I don't like long gaps between meals. I like us eating every 2 to 3 hours. You can get your blood sugar checked. I would get your insulin, your A1C checked. It could also be anemia. I would get your iron levels checked. Post baby self-care. Yeah, so Asna, you're in my group and have worked with us. Once you get pregnant, and it's available to anyone, it's $20. My new mama guide is amazing. And then I also have a pregnancy group that we put women in, and it's cheap for yes, you can get pregnant e-course students. It's like $11 a month or something like that. And I go live once a month in there, and I do answer all your questions. So, but the can I handle it piece of like, that's where you're not trusting yourself. So if we can go back to that as a core belief, what are the ways I do trust myself? What are the ways I'm not trusting myself? What are the ways I'm not remembering that I'm resourceful and I'm smart and I know how to ask for questions or for support? I know where to go to ask my questions. I wonder what it looks like after delivering baby so I can prepare myself. So sleep is so important now, how to deal with it when it's deprived. You're going to ask for support. You're going to alternate. You're also going to, have, it's a blip in time, the sleep deprivation, the serious sleep deprivation. I think sleep is just inherently disrupted, maybe for as long as you let them come into your bedroom once they're walking around. But, you learn how to manage it. For me, and listen, we weren't in a financial position that money was just like rolling around. The second I found out I was pregnant, I started saving for a baby nurse, and I had a baby nurse 24/7 for 3 weeks. It's a lot of money, several $1,000s, I think $3,000. But I saved for 9 months, and I had all the money. And because to me, that was the number one thing I was going to do, because I didn't want to compromise my sleep. And I pumped, and so someone else could give a bottle, and believe me, I'm here for you, Asna. When that comes up, we will support you and help you go through those resources. But you're also, remember, like, what we're doing now is to gear ourselves up to be as strong and healthy as we can be. We're going to go through the pregnancy like that, so our recovery will be easier on us. And because life does throw us dodgeballs in postpartum, or whatever, throws us things where we may not be able to sleep. The baby might have colic. Like, we don't know. And we're not going to know that till we're in it. But if you can remind yourself, I trust myself, I believe in myself, I'm smart, I'm resourceful, I know where to go to ask for help, I know how to receive support, you're going to be fine. I just gained some weight. I need to lose a bit. My BMI is almost 25. When I live healthy, I easily lose pounds. I'm not worried about that. How do I believe in my body being able to get pregnant during this time, being healthy while having to lose weight? Thank you. I think, again, it's going back to trusting. My body knows what it needs. I know what my body needs. I'm getting more in alignment. I had a little stress and I fell a little out of alignment. Now I'm coming back to alignment. And I'm worthy of this baby no matter what my weight is. Right? I'm worthy of this baby no matter what my weight is. Sometimes the extra weight is actually really helpful for fertility. Yeah, I have all my supplements on my website. If you go to aimeerup.com/fertility supplements, then you can see the fish oils that I really like. Colleen, I'm considering moving clinics. I don't love RMA New York, I'm going to be honest. I particularly don't love what's her face? What is her name? I think I blocked it from my brain. But I love Dr. Luke. What I love about Dr. Luke, similar to what I love about Dr. Murray, they think outside the box. They believe in your possibility. They are willing to try different things, and they are not going to shame you the way what's her face will shame people, has shamed me for trying to encourage and inspire hope. She's the RMA doctor. I can't remember her name. I like Dr. Copperman. I always liked him. He's a nice man. I just think the practice has gone in a direction that I don't think works for a lot of my patients. And mainly it's like, I think the biggest thing that I look for in a doctor is like, are they going to get pushback when you ask, can you check my thyroid? Can you run this test for endometritis? What do you think about lowering the stims? If they get all, I don't know if you guys saw my post on social media yesterday, but like one of those comments, the one that you're real deal infertile, came from one of those like top doctors in New York City. I almost put their names on everything. The other one about, can I sell you magic beans, came from a ridiculously like well-known top doctor. when they act like that, it's like, first of all, that's medical gaslighting. Secondly, you don't deserve to be talked to like that ever. And third, you can't just put a woman in a bucket because of her age or her BMI or her test results. That's not fair. And that's the kind of doctor I don't want any of you working with. IVF with doctors like that work for women who probably never needed IVF. And I mean that like lovingly, but I do think that probably 60 to 70% of women that wind up going through IVF didn't actually need it. I respect the desire to get there faster, and IVF can sometimes facilitate that. Sometimes it does not, but sometimes it can. And so I think the biggest thing you want to feel like is that they're on your team and they are continuously digging deep to figure out why it's not working for you, and they're willing to do tests that you ask them to do. And I can text Dr. Luke like, hey, I'm seeing so and so. We usually talk with initials, or we'll do, we have to be HIPAA compliant. So we have like a HIPAA compliant way of mentioning the patient's name without writing their full name out. Dr. Luke will respond to my text messages. Dr. Vidali responds to my text messages. Dr. Murphy responds to my text messages. Dr. Amy out in Cisco, she will respond to an email I send her about a patient. The kind of doctors, I mean, I know those are 4 people, but like there's a lot of great doctors out there who are slaying. Dr. Berg, he's at RMA, New Jersey. He's actually done. And it's not like I judge them whether or not they talk to me. I don't mean it like that. I mean, they're open to hearing other opinions, or they're like, welcome the think tank. Like, and I want to see you working with someone like that, because that's what you deserve. I've since on the diet got BV twice. That's interesting. I can't, it's changing the bacteria somehow. I've not seen that before. I wonder if doing ferments maybe aren't working for you. Maybe I would take those out. Also, like, is your partner, like I would have your partner on probiotics too. I'm 1 week out from phase 4. I have an egg retrieval plan. Would you recommend continuing phase 3 for optimal health, or progress to phase 4? I think you can progress. You don't do the COVID booster. Not if you're trying to conceive. It's I've honestly been told by multiple doctors at this point, don't have any of your girls do the booster if they're trying to conceive. And if they do it, they have to wait at least 3 to 4 months, sometimes ideally 6 months before trying to conceive. Okay, all my recommended products are on AIMEE'S.com/fertility supplements. I have a whole AIMEE approved product list. Let's see. And I use fluoride free. Recommended human growth hormones. We've done 7 already. Aren't sure doing that. Additional tests on my husband and I. We've done 7 already. I'm assuming IVFs. Yeah, usually RFC, they don't recommend HGH because they like the PRP, and the PRP is kind of the same as the HGH, is the human growth hormone. It's your own growth hormone. So that's what Dr. Murphy has said to me. Yeah, if you haven't had a hysteroscopy, I would push for that. If you haven't had a DNA fragmentation test, I would push for that. If you haven't had an endometrial biopsy, I would push for that to test for endometritis. Clotting factor test, why am I not implanting? So I don't know enough about your case to know. And obviously this isn't meant to be case review questions. Somehow it's turned into that, but there's a big difference if you're not getting embryos versus if you're not implanting, right? And so I would dig deeper into that part. I don't really have a comment for osteopathy for endometriosis. This diet, this lifestyle, this is what I use mainly to treat endometriosis. My acupuncture says my AMH is so low that if it doesn't rise in 2 months, I will have to give up. I would not. AMH changes all the time. I see women with AMH 0.01 get true. Covering high surge after my loss. Yeah, I would want to know what your progesterone's doing. You'd have to check your progesterone. And if you're ovulating, it doesn't matter what your AMH is. And if you're trying naturally, it doesn't matter what your AMH is. Um, Inositol and metformin can help with regulating blood sugar, can help improve mitochondrial function. That's why I want you to take a break with the vitamins in phase 2. I take a lot of vitamins. Can they work against each other? Yes. Or just overwhelm your system. I just feel so defeated since my loss in April, May. My cycle is long. I went to the gyno. They didn't see anything wrong in the ultrasound. It's possible it could have changed my fertility. It could be fixed. So sometimes there's retained tissue. I would ask to make sure that they got everything out that could be impacting your cycle. So that's where you'd ask for a hysteroscopy and or an endometrial biopsy. It could be emotional. I would dig deep on the emotional stuff and really follow the feelings. And just like, perfection doesn't equal pregnancy, right? I'm not a robot. My body just went through a tremendous loss, so recovery and healing. And so your AMH could be low right now too, because your ovaries are kind of a little bit in hiding. So I would do things like the castor oil packs, acupuncture, Chinese herbs, this diet, really dig into the feelings piece. Yeah, so phase 2, we have to stop taking vitamins. I think I've already addressed that basically. I had an experience with Palm Hub program and how they focus on repairing our cells, not just gut microbiome, etc. Things like metal fillings, root canals, crowns. Yeah, they do play a big role in the health. I did a root canal and just got a tooth pulled. I've gotten my fillings, most of them taken out. Air diffuser at home. I wasn't sure what type of program I need first. Super expensive. Yeah, I think that stuff is like, I think I would focus, Deanne, on like what you're doing now and really the dietary and the lifestyle changes. That would be my number one thing, because you can really change your cells through diet, through lifestyle, through limiting your toxic exposure. So I love that you have the air purifiers, and I would get rid of plastics. I would go to like non-toxic cookware, change your bath and beauty products. All those changes can make a tremendous impact, and I don't think you have to go and spend a ton of money to go and do all this additional stuff. It's also about, like, you might have metals or things in your mouth from dental care. It's about, though, how your body's detoxifying, right? And so supporting your body in its detox pathways is really going to help your body process out what it doesn't need and chelate out the metals and things of that nature. This diet does that. This lifestyle does that, because it's so heavy in the vegetable category. And then also we're eliminating all the crap in the environment. And so your body can just utilize what it needs. The fats are really helpful in that. Calming your nervous system is probably the biggest thing you guys can all do from a fertility perspective. Any thoughts on services? I love my abdominal massage. So I love anything that's going to help improve circulation and blood flow to the uterus and the ovaries. Acupuncture, mind abdominal massage, castor oil, abdominal gua sha, sitting on like the heating pad like I'm sitting on, steaming, all of that. Anything you can do to improve circulation and blood flow to your ovaries and your uterus is going to help your fertility, regardless of your age, regardless of your diagnosis. So I have a whole live with Dr. Murphy on PRP. I'm going to just give you that to watch. Modern scientific tools for fertility rejuvenation. Everything of egg quality is a lie. That's a great. I like that. I like that. Okay, fertility rejuvenation, a conversation with Dr. Murphy. And this talks about PRP. And gentle IVF, can really be helpful too for some women. Sound frequency. I don't know about that. Watch this video above, Deanne. I think that'll be helpful because there's ozone, there's PRP. We talk about that. Yeah, Erin, I don't think adding Vitex. Focus on the diet. Food is the primary medicine. Calming the nervous system is equal. So focus on this program right now. And let's see what your cycles do. I'm 44 and been through 6 rounds of IVF, 1 transfer from my 38-year-old frozen eggs. At 42 was successful. I received 1 healthy embryo. My transfer date. Fluid canceled. Yeah, I'm disappointed and frustrated. I think like Jackie, and this is a nice way to wrap up the call of like, right? You're grateful because you don't want to waste an embryo. And I think that's a really good doctor for canceling the cycle. So it's like, remind yourself, like, I'm in good hands. I have a good support team. I have people who really are supporting me and believe in me. This has been a long haul. So I'm tired. I'm frustrated. I've been doing everything I possibly can to bring home this baby. And this has been longer than I ever anticipated. So I feel tired. I feel defeated, and that's warranted, right? So like that's a lot what's going to go on in the ART worksheet. Meet yourself where you're at. Acknowledge how you feel. I feel disappointed. I feel frustrated. And that's okay. And that's normal. How could it not? But I still have opportunity. I still believe in possibility. I'm so grateful for my support team. Right. And so, but it's okay for me to have a few down days. Like, right. What if that's the permission you give yourself? It's okay for me to feel this way right now. It's okay for me to feel this way right now. I love myself. I support myself. I'm going to continue to show up for myself as best as I can. It's okay for me to feel this way right now. Me feeling disappointed or frustrated, mad, sad, pissed off, angry, left out, all the negative emotions, me feeling those negative emotions will not negatively impact my fertility. When I stay there for too long, doesn't serve me, because you notice your beliefs dictate your behavior dictates your health, right? So I don't want to stay there so long that it starts to, I say fuck it to everything, and then I'm, whatever, I'm gonna eat a bag of bonbons. But sometimes like eating a bag of bonbons, that's so cliche, but like, you know what I mean. Sometimes doing that is perfectly fine too. It's like if you do something and feel good about it, it's a lot worse for you than if you do something and feel bad about it. That's a very energetic kind of feeling place to think about. So it's okay to feel the way you feel. Just don't stay there too long. That's what I would say. Or also point out to yourself all the ways that you are being supported and guided. And that was a huge, protective message from the universe, from the gods, and now you get the hysteroscopy, which I really like to see a woman get a hysteroscopy before. If she's never had one before an IVF transfer, minimum an endometrial biopsy. It's like the number one thing I push for. Again, 50% of women that are tested for endometritis, not endometriosis, 2 different things, come back positive for it. And it's a uterine lining infection, and you will not get pregnant if you have it. So you've got to get tested for it. And any of you that have been pregnant and then miscarried and then have not been able to get pregnant again, you should get a hysteroscopy. You should push for it. You want to look for scar tissue. You want to look for this endometrial lining infection, the endometritis. You want to make sure nothing structural has been in the way, because that happens. I just had a case last week, and she'd been pregnant. She hasn't gotten pregnant again. No one's done any biopsy. Chronic endometritis. The doctor says we don't treat. I said, here's some research for your doctor. Shows in the research paper. He apologizes. Good doctor. Listen to his patient. That alone could be the reason she's not getting pregnant. I don't know why it's not a nice single woman out there. But you're welcome. I love you guys. I'm sorry if I sounded frustrated. I do really prefer if we can kind of put an emotional twist on some of our questions for next week. And, use me for my skill set, of course. I know you guys all want to pick my brain, and I appreciate that. And I'm here for you on that. I put aside this hour and a half for you guys every week for this program. And I hope I am as supportive as you hoped I would be and could be during this program without me knowing the ins and outs of your case. If you really want a deep dive, I spend 4 hours a week talking to my coaches about every single case that they say. And 3 hours a week, 1 hour with each coach. My eyes are on the cases. And so if you want to do a coaching session with my team and really get an individualized situation going on, do that. Okay. Sending love.